Good evening, everyone. It's Dr.SHIVA. Today, we're going to be having a very, very interesting discussion on what I call the swarms World War III containment PsyOp that's underway. And it's hard to really understand this unless you take a systems approach. And that's what we're going to start with today. But I really want everyone to understand there's a very powerful PsyOp underway that's being executed by the swarm. And the events in Gaza and what took place on U.S. colleges gives you an idea of what's actually going on. And I'm going to give you my systems analysis that it's hard to get anywhere else because people don't take a systems approach. So the movement for truth, freedom, and health and everything I do always gives you a prescient view of what's going on, which means look into the future and what the swarm's up to. And that's what we're going to be talking about shortly. Before we start with that, I want to invite everyone, and as you're coming in, understand that we have created a movement for truth, freedom, health. And today we're going to also have an open house about my run for president. So I'm going to play this video as people are coming in to understand why I'm running for president. And I'm going to give you my analysis, as I just shared, on the swarm's World War III containment PsyOp and what Gaza and the repression that took place on U.S. colleges was really about. And I'll be back shortly right after this. So I hope you enjoy this.
Who would have ever thought I'd be running for president of the United States of America? I was born a low-caste untouchable in India's caste system, a system of aristocracy, oppression, and racism. My name is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. I'm an MIT PhD, a Fulbright scholar, a scientist, engineer, entrepreneur, and inventor. My family and I left India to come to America on my 7th birthday. I grew up in the working-class neighborhoods of New Jersey, playing baseball, mowing lawns, painting houses, and coding software. My friends and neighbors are blacks, Italians, Irish, people of all races. As a 14-year-old, I wrote 50,000 lines of software code to create the world's first email system, and was awarded the first U.S. copyright for email, recognizing me as its official inventor at a time when copyright was the only way to protect software inventions. I did that long before I ever came to MIT, revealing that big innovations can occur anytime, any place, by anybody. Growing up, I saw politicians dividing us by race and religion in both America and India, to have us fighting each other while they remained safe in their gated communities and in their playgrounds of Hollywood, Martha's Vineyard, and Silicon Valley. I'm a fighter. I fought racism and exposed their imperialist wars, fought for workers, and put my life on the line against global corruption. I never wanted to run for political office. All that changed when I saw working Americans as never before being duped by the establishment and the not-so-obvious establishment. Across left and right, we were being sold out and made to forget why we came to America and why America existed. Lawyers, academics, billionaires, celebrities, and politicians, elites, Clintons, Kennedys, Bidens, Obamas, Bushes, black and white have hijacked America. They printed trillions for their friends. They delivered crumbling infrastructure, corruption, and racism. They've transferred trillions to themselves, dividing black and white, fear-mongering, and fake science. Lockdowns and censorship, dirty air, food, and water, pushing drugs upon us, making us sicker. We've been sold out. One set of rules for them and another for us. We deserve a warrior with a history of courage in putting everything on the line for you, who believes in you, not them, who has created a movement bottoms up for truth, freedom, health. I've exposed their lies at the right time, never waiting until it was popular. I've exposed their false gods who exist to lead you back to them. I've exposed their fake science of lockdowns and masking and provided you solutions to fight them and win and protect your immune system, saving millions. I exposed Fauci, galvanized the Fire Fauci campaign when others remained silent. When they stole our election, we sued the government and Twitter in our historic 2020 federal lawsuit, exposing in bare view the government and big tech censorship infrastructure, the unholy alliance between government and social media companies. Where was Elon and his grifters? They stood by the sidelines and did nothing. They did not use their megaphones to help us when it could have made a big difference. Now our movement grows for truth, freedom, health, independent of all of them. Every day millions are learning the science of systems, the knowledge the elites do not want you to have, so you may learn how to think, stand up, and fight, independent of the establishment of left and right and their fake heroes. Now it's time for you to join the movement, to win back America, to win back truth, win back freedom, win back your health. That's why I'm running for president of the United States. This race is about you. This race is about truth, freedom, health versus power, profit, control. We've had enough. They think we'll fall in line and vote again for their lawyers, celebrities, billionaires, and chosen ones from above. We choose our heroes from below, from the rank and file, who do what is right at the right time, not when it's convenient and popular. They can never represent us. What America needs is a movement by the working people, for the working people, who are educated, organized, decentralized, and fight for independence from their systems of control. And that movement exists. It's ready for you. We don't need them. We need us to go bottoms up, neighbor to neighbor. My journey, your journey are all the same. It's our time. It's time we had one of us. It's time to win back truth, freedom, health, to win back America. Be part of this historic movement, all the way to our victory on November 5th, 2024. If you're an American citizen, pledge your vote now for Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, the independent candidate for U.S. President. No matter where you live, you can be a part of this. Volunteer as little as 20 minutes a day. Don't delay. This is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I approve this message, paid for by Dr. Shiva for President.
So people join, but we're going to have a very important discussion on a topic that I wanted to share with you, because a number of people have been talking about the potentiality of World War III, GAZA, what's going on, the recent repression that took place on U.S. colleges. And I want to really tie that all together for you. And the approach that I'm going to take is a systems approach that involves understanding the mechanics of the elements of how a system works. Those of you who are interested should get involved in the movement for truth, freedom, health. We're going to be doing an open house for my Shiva for President town hall. So I'm going to take a few moments and bring in the town hall people. And as that's about to start, because I want to do a dual broadcast, one here and one also on Zoom, I'm going to have you guys listen to a very interesting video by Eustace Conway, who's one of our big supporters. Let me play this for you.
I found out that one of my heroes, Malcolm X, is also the hero of a man that I recently became acquainted with, who is now one of my new heroes, a fellow named Dr.SHIVA, and he stands for truth, freedom, and health. And who can't get behind truth, freedom, and health? I know I sure can. I sure as beep can. At this day and time, we really need to pay attention to such things as truth, freedom, and health. And Dr. Shiva is probably the only threat to the establishment in this country that I've seen in my lifetime. You know, little blips come and go, but right now Dr. Shiva is a real and serious threat to the absolute atrocities that are going on in our government here today. And he's just standing up for truth and telling people about it. And I'm going to vote for him for president because I feel like he is a man that is actually going to do something. It's a completely inverted paradigm. Dr. Shiva is all about a bottoms-up movement, not the upper echelon telling the lowers how to live, how to be. This is the opposite of the insanity of the controllers. Dr. Shiva can tell you all about it, and I hope you'll look at it and take it seriously, just like I have, because Dr. Shiva is the only man that I have seen in my entire lifetime that really ought to be and is correctly groomed for being the president and leader of this country.
Eric, I think he's breaking up. Go ahead, Dr. Shiva.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Shiva.
No,
Okay.
I couldn't hear you.
Anyway, we can come back later, Emily, because I'm doing a dual broadcast. All right.
We'll come back.
All right. Good evening, everyone. It's Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai. I'm doing a dual broadcast today of our town hall, also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And the topic that I want to really talk about today, it's been something that I've wanted to share with you, but it's a important topic, and I've called it the Swarm's World War III Containment Psychological Operation from Gaza to the repression that recently just took place on U.S. universities. So I'm going to walk you guys through this, but let me sort of share this in the following way. There's a number of things that need to be intersected. A lot of people have seen, the events of Gaza. People have seen the avert stuff right on TV. You saw police going on college campuses, busting heads, shooting rubber bullets, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so that's another body of visuals and stuff people have seen. The next thing people are hearing about is the potential of World War III. So you're seeing Ukraine and Russia events, dribbles of it. Some people may know a couple of last week, the early warning systems, a set of early warning systems in a part of Russia was taken out, obviously by the United States and British imperialism in the proxy of these guys over in Ukraine. So that's another body of stuff that's going on. And the third is the theatrics of the swarm in the US election. Not us. We're talking about booby fucking Kennedy, Zionist Donald Trump, Joe Biden, all these guys. So you have these three events going, four or five events going on, okay? And most working people don't have the time to sit and understand this because the grifters on social media, Joe Rogan, all these fake, supposedly people who are want to free Palestine, Donald Trump, Booby Kennedy, Biden, and then you have dribbles of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. So just think about what's going on. And then in the middle of all of this, it's hard for people to understand how the U.S. economy operates. So there's 5 elements here that I want to connect for all of you to give you an update, a systems analysis of what's going on. And I call it the conclusion. I'm going to give you the punchline is that the swarm is working very, very hard to contain people's movements bottoms up. That's what's really going on. So let me give you a little bit of background on this. If you go back and you look at the Vietnam era, the Vietnam War, some of you who are under the age of 50 may not remember this, but anyone over the age of 50 does. So when I came to the United States in 1970, as a child, as a 7-year-old kid, what you saw on TV was mangled pictures of soldiers, U.S. soldiers. You saw horrible pictures of napalm and all this kind of stuff being dropped in Vietnam, etc. Journalists at that time were actually allowed to go and witness this and report on it. Okay? So that was the Vietnam era. People in their homes saw, massive anti-war movements, them escalating and growing and succeeding, all that kind of stuff. So that was one body of visuals people saw. So you notice I'm talking a lot about visuals, what people actually saw on TV, photographs, etc., because these really allow people to really understand what's going on visually. So after the Vietnam War, the swarm in the United States and globally decided that it was extremely important to make sure that such visuals never got out to people. So they actually did massive repression of journalists. So if you look at the recent wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, all you saw was some blip of some little cursor and some drone going in, some little bomb going off. You never saw the atrocities on the ground, okay? So that's what's fascinating. All of this became sort of video game war. You never saw mangled bodies. You never saw babies being blown up, none of that. And this was very, very deliberate. So the establishment spent a tremendous amount of effort in being able to black out news. With the internet, the establishment actually got even better. People think, oh, with the internet, everyone can share information. We can get news out. False. Because 4 companies, telecommunications companies, control the internet, right? These 4 telecommunications companies could actually overnight shut down regions. They could shut down IP addresses. So if you had your cell phone and let's say you were broadcasting something from Boston, Massachusetts, well, they could shut down those IP addresses. They could shut down those cell phone towers. And you could do overnight blackouts. And by way of example, at the height of Arab Spring in Egypt, some of you may know that as, initially it was a student movement, millions of students came out, but when working people started getting involved, overnight, the dictator Mubarak, at that time, who was the dictator of Egypt, just shut down all the internet. He called one call to the CEO of Vodafone and everything shut down. Okay. A lot of people don't remember this, but that's what happened. So what emerges out of that is the incredible ability with this consolidated infrastructure of the government and the social media companies. They can shut down and black out news in regional areas. All right. So just keep that in the back of your head. Now you have to ask the question, why are so many pictures of dead babies coming out of Gaza? Why are all these grifters? And I don't even know how they're getting these pictures. And you have to wake up to that. Who are these people on the internet getting all these pictures? How are they getting these pictures out of Gaza? And why is the establishment allowing them to share those pictures? Because as I told you, we can do localized blackouts. In fact, just yesterday, the Israeli Mossad literally did an internet blackout of Rafah. So we know they can do that. So with all the genocidal devastation in Gaza, why are these photographs coming out, given a policy over the last, since 1970 and 80s, for the last 40 years, that the swarm, the intelligence agencies, and the governments have a policy, and now with the internet, a technology to be able to do blackouts. So, because I was watching, I was looking at, the website, and I see all these so-called grifters sharing pictures of babies dying, mangled faces. And I started wondering, A, why are they doing that? A, why are they doing that? And B, where are they getting these pictures? So keep that over here. Okay? A lot of visuals you're getting of the horror that's taking place in Gaza. Horror that could easily be hidden. All right. So that's body of sort of, knowledge over here. The second body of knowledge is this. On U.S. college campuses, by the way, college campuses have been historically the place where movements are initially sparked by student anger at a situation, and eventually those protests then go over to working people and it grows, okay? And you saw that occur with the Vietnam War. Well, so overnight, students organically in these colleges who had some sense of compassion for the people of Palestine rose up and they started doing these encampments and protesting. Ultimately, those protests were hijacked by liberal Zionists. And you could see it consistently. In all of these protests, they contained those movements. People were with armbands controlling which slogans could be said. Lot of slogans to free Palestine, but very little going at the heart of the issue that we've talked about, which is end the occupation of America by Zionism. Because for 40 years, in the so-called ceasefire now Palestinian movements, which have again been hijacked by liberal Zionists, they always talk about ceasefire now, which basically means Israel gets to go 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But there's rarely any discussion about ending the occupation of Zionism in the United States. We know for a fact that Zionism controls all the politicians, not me. And you saw a little video that came out as I was doing an interview, which said, I'm the only US president candidate who does not suck Zionist cock. It went viral in spite of all the shadow banning, because people know that the leadership of the US, left and right, up or down, obvious or not so obvious establishment, Trump or Biden or Booby, they all suck Zionist cock. Well, I was the one who just nailed it right between the eyes. And after October 7, 2023, I did many, many videos, 10, 20 videos, educating people about the fundamental difference between Zionism and Judaism, and the difference between being an anti-Zionist and anti-Semitic. And all of that knowledge went viral. Globally viral, because no one had ever educated people on this fundamental level. All right. But on these college campuses, getting back to that, the movement was containment, you see, by the liberal Zionists only to talk about ceasefire now, not end the occupation of America. So if you want to free Palestine, you have to free America. Very simple. That's the root of the issue. That's what a systems analysis reveals. And we were the only movement who articulated that clearly and exposed it. You want to free Palestine? Let's free America from Zionism. And obviously the grifters would start, jumping onto that to get views and clicks, but they didn't really want to address that issue. All right. But so over here, what ended up happening was you had these college encampments, and then again, very visually and viscerally on social media and on TV, which, by the way, they could have repressed all this. They started showing professors being handcuffed, rubber bullets being fired, police going like fascists, attacking students very visually. And the impact of that in the living room was, wow, maybe I shouldn't protest, right? Ooh, look what can happen to me. And they did it very brutally, stuff that you haven't seen since Kent State or, the Democratic Convention in 1968 when Daley, who was a mayor of Chicago, unleashed police to go beat the shit out of anti-war protesters. Okay? So you have all these pictures being shared on the internet, horrible, horrible, abusive pictures. People see them. And then over here, you have, again, video of police going in with their headgear, state police beating the shit out of students. Now, all of this is occurring right before graduation. Beautifully timed. So now the students can go, the encampments are taken down. And what is the feeling that the average person watching this is left with? Oh my God, look what the Israelis and the Zionist hoodlums are getting away in Gaza. Babies dying. And you know what happens when you repeat stuff to the brain like that? The frontal lobe, you get used to it. You get desensitized. And you create what's called learned helplessness, which I've done many videos on. Learned helplessness is a methodological approach that the CIA developed with behavioral psychologists, how to get mammals and human beings to accept their own helplessness, that they can't do anything about the future, that they can't change the world. Some very horrible experiments they did initially with dogs, and they did with humans, but fundamentally to show that if you keep showing events about repression and the individual can't do anything about it, that ultimately what happens is that individual's frontal lobe remodels neurologic, from a neuroscience standpoint, and they say, well, I guess I can't do anything about it. I guess I have to vote for fucking Booby fucking Kennedy. I guess I have to vote for Trump. I guess I have to vote for Biden. I guess this is what happens when you rise up. You're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You see? So we saw all that happen within the last about 4 months. In 120 days, this happened. Okay? They ensured that pictures. And I was noticing a lot of these grifter scumbags claiming they were anti-Zionist for Palestine, posting picture after picture after picture of babies' faces mangled. And I'm wondering, why are you doing this? Well, if you are the CIA and you're running a psychological operation, you want to do that. And you're training people to say, wow, I can't do anything. And you're training people to accept the most violent, abusive situations. So put that over here, those two phenomena, which just took place. Now over here, we have a looming question about World War III. The big events that are also going on are one in Ukraine and Russia and the other in various parts of the Middle East. Again, a lot of this news is not shared in mainstream media, but let me start with the one in the Arab world. You may not know this, but there have been massive protests in Egypt, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iran, all those places where a lot of Arab and Muslim population are. They are protesting also against the abusive situation in Gaza. Now, isn't it interesting? There's so many Muslims and Arab leaders of these countries, yet they don't do anything to help the people of Palestine. This has been going on for 60 years, 70 years. Why? Because you will find out with some research, the leaders of those countries, of even Iran, even Iraq, even UAE, Saudi Arabia, they're very tied and dependent to Israel. Irrigation systems, certain technology systems. You just have to do a little bit of research, okay? And more importantly, the leaders of these quote unquote Arab nations are very repressive dictatorial leaders. They're not nice guys. Those leaders are very afraid of their own people. Erdogan in Turkey, complete scumbag. He just goes whichever way the wind goes, wherever he'll get money. Saudi Arabian, quote unquote leaders, misleaders. And what you'll see is among the Arab world, there have been, as millions of people have been taken to the street to protest Gaza, what's been going on? Those protests have been growing. And the leaders themselves, who have not laid a finger to really materially help the Palestinian people for 70 years, are out there with microphones acting as though they're supporting the protesters. Oh my God, yes, this is horrible. But yet what the media will not tell you and what's been going on is they've actually been jailing. They've been throwing in jail some of the key leaders of those movements, because in some of the more interesting trends in those movements, who are telling the people, hey, yeah, we're against what's going on in Palestine. We're against Zionism, but our own leaders are the ones who've been selling us out. They're the ones, they're the reason we have 25% unemployment rate among the youth in our own countries, in these Arab countries. And in fact, in many of these Arab countries, the dictatorial establishments have put all the police, all the National Guard, all the army on high alert against these people who are coming to the streets, afraid that these anti-Zionist protests will also become against the anti-establishment in those own countries. Again, that's a very important phenomenon to understand. All right. So the connection here is, in the United States, students were starting to rise up. People are getting pissed off. And we have on TV, everyone's watching their social media. Oh my God, the police are going in and doing this. They could do that to me. So they don't want a bottoms-up movement coming up here. In the Arab world, the so-called people claiming that they're for their fellow quote-unquote Muslims, well, as people come up, the Arab leaders are also repressing Arab people, which the media is not reporting on, because these are fake anti-Zionist leaders, okay? Yeah, someone just said this is happening in Egypt. Exactly. Jordan, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, all these countries who are all Zionist countries, they wear their headdress and they claim they're Muslims, they're Arabs, and they're with the people, but they're not. They're with the elite strata of the swarm. The kings of Saudi Arabia and Jordan and the emirs of Kuwait and the dictators of Egypt are complete alignment with Zionism, complete alignment with US and British imperialism. Because there's a difference between these leaders and the people. And you have to really get that. So that's that third piece. So you have what's occurring in Gaza, the atrocities, people putting out all these pictures, the repression that we saw on the campuses in the United States, and then other pictures of, wow, oh my God, the Arab world is rising up. But what you're not seeing is a repression that's going on by the Arab leaders to their own people. All right. Now let's go to Ukraine and Russia. The swarm has its own differences. The one element of the swarm, which is vying for its own power, the emerging nations, the BRICS nations, China, Russia, right? They want to assert their own sovereignty. Russia does not like the fact that NATO, step by step, has been encroaching on them. And I've done many, many videos on this, okay? And you should go look at the analysis. This goes back to the policy of British and US imperialism to dominate Europe and the rest of the world. NATO was an outcome of World War II as a way to contain the Soviet Union. After the fall of the Soviet Union, George Bush verbally, the problem was that Gorbachev, who was an agent of the United States, by the way, it's a longer video we could do on that, agreed verbally, which was very dumb, that when Bush said NATO will not go one step east of Germany. Well, NATO went all the way east of Germany, took on many, many countries. And this obviously was problematic for Russia. So now you have a situation in Russia where the neo-Nazis of Ukraine, which is what they are, the government there was installed by Obama and Hillary Clinton, supported by John McCain, and both left and right. It came to a point where Russia said, we can't do this. We can't have people on our doorstep. So you have the Russia-Ukraine war. All right. In the middle of all of this, you have to consider the United States economy, which is headed to likely a significant recession. The US economy is running on largely fumes, on hype of AI, on hype of Elon Musk, as though he's some great guy, on electric vehicles. But fundamentally, the US, when you look at it from an economic standpoint, jobs, recession, inflation, it's not in a good situation. The US under Trump administration printed 8 trillion, under Obama another 8 trillion, and I don't know what we're up to under Biden, probably, at least 5 trillion. We can look at that. So the US economy is based on printing money. And many elite theorists have said that you can print money as much as you want, as long as you are the reserve currency. So in order to be the reserve currency in the for the United States, guess what? The United States dollar is not backed by petroleum. It's not backed by any hard assets like gold. It's actually backed by military hardware, F-15s, F-16s, nuclear bombs, hypersonic missiles, and so on. So the US must put forward its dominance militarily so they can print money to appease the working people in the United States. All right, so you have that dynamic. So here are the 5 dynamics. US has to assert its its military dominance so they can have the right to print money. You have Russia asserting its sovereignty in that region against the proxy Ukraine. You have the fact that the people in the Arab world are rising up against Zionism. Their leaders are also afraid of them. So you have massive repression going on. And you see right in the United States, the US elites are afraid of a bottoms-up movement. So they visually desensitize because they know Americans just want to watch videos and play video games and be enthralled by social media all day. They're hitting them with all these visuals. So when you put this together, this is what emerges. And this is my analysis of what I called, for those of you on our town hall, it's really about the swarm's WW3 containment PsyOp. Containment means they need to contain people so we don't build a bottoms-up movement. So you don't get off your ass and you have all sorts of excuses. Oh my God, we can't do anything. Did you see what happened on those US colleges? And so imagine that what's really happening is an entrainment of the brain to get desensitized to when a real war takes place, quote unquote, World War III. When real horror hits when the shit hits the fan. Well, I guess that's just the way it is, because we already saw enough babies dying in Gaza, blown up faces, all this, that the brain gets desensitized. And they know that anti-war movements are very powerful. But if you've taken the last 3 months to say, hey, if you're a student and you go protest, this is what's going to happen to you. So my thesis on this is that the situation in Gaza and the situation of the U.S. college repression, so vividly shared on social media with pictures, etc., is a psychological operation to brainwash particularly the working class and young people in the United States, that guess what? You better not do anything, and training them for when the real shit hits the fan. Let's say a real war, a major war, a serious war, to PsyOp people to get desensitized to the war, to the imagery, and to make sure we don't build anti-war movements in this country. Okay? That's what I believe this is going on when you intersect all of this. They do not want a massive working class bottoms-up movement in the world, particularly in the United States. And they want people desensitized to abuse. They want people desensitized to the massive horrors that could come in a serious world war. And that's what I believe is going on. And all of these characters, Booby fucking Kennedy, Donald fucking Trump, Biden, they're all making money off of this. All of them. All of that is theater, ladies and gentlemen. You have to really get your head out of your ass and you have to recognize Donald Trump, oh my God, he just got indicted. Well, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. All those MAGA people are going to get email after email after email. You know, they'll appeal it. This will go on for years and years, but he's going to make fucking money all day. So he just got handed a gift, a martyr, supposedly. Joe Biden gets handed a gift. Wow, we got him. He's a convict. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Booby fucking Kennedy will go out there and, you know, and he's part of the swarm. Oh my God, these people aren't good for you. Democrats and Republicans vote for me, but I'm a really good Zionist cocksucker. I'm better than both of them. That's what this is about. And the only force that can oppose them is a movement for truth, freedom, health, and my running for president, period. And that is why so much repression takes place in terms of hiding our message. But they have a problem because we're on the ground. We're on the ground collecting signatures. We got the word out. People know we exist. Over 500 million people or more now. So the only way out of this containment PsyOp is to grow the movement for truth, freedom, health. And how does that happen? That happens by you not falling into this brainwashing, by you, first of all, recognizing, wow, there's a movement here. What is this movement? It's a vessel. It's a framework. This framework involves teaching, knowledge, a community, giving you discipline on doing certain activities. Go collect signatures, hand out flyers, meet your fellow neighbors, explain to them. And we've created that in a very powerful environment. Separate from that, we're finding people who are serious. And we don't frankly want to deal with people who are unserious or are dilettantes. So leaders in our movement are learning that. They're going through their learning process, raising their consciousness. But those of you listening, get involved. Become a warrior scholar in truth, freedom, health. Warrior scholar. Learn the theory of activism and do it, but with the highest level of consciousness of a systems approach. All right, that's what we need to do. Because without that understanding, you will always get bamboozled. These 5 pieces, oh, here's the economy. Oh, that's going on in Gaza. Ooh, look at this over in US colleges. Oh, I see a bunch of people protesting there. Oh, I see Ukraine-Russia war. You won't understand the dynamics of the theater that's taking place. It's a theater of repression. It's a theater of making sure we don't build a bottoms-up movement. And the American working class, as well as the world working class, is being brainwashed now to inaction. The good news is our movement is there. We're in every part of the world in 100+ countries. And no one out there can whine. So, I don't know what to do. They're so strong. I don't know what to do. Well, you know, our movement has led many, many victorious battles. It is this movement that exposed the fact that government has a backdoor portal into Twitter. It is this movement that exposed that elections are selections. It is this movement that exposed the pandemic and saved hundreds of millions of people's lives. Because when you take a systems approach, we win. We are here to find people who want to win. We're not here to find dilettantes. If you want to be part of this movement, get ready to work. Get ready to commit. If you don't want to be part of it, we will give you recommendation letters to other political movements. Go join them and fuck them up. But we are building a serious movement of highly ethical people who have a lot of integrity, who are highly self-reflective, who all work for a living, who sacrifice their families and work and support what we're doing. And that community, that force is what's going to change the world. All right? It's not going to come from individuals who want to mentally masturbate all day and just talk. But they don't want to learn the physics here. Well, we've created that. We made it accessible. We have enough videos for a lifetime you guys can watch. But where we are right now is you guys need to get off your butt and take action. Well, in the United States, one of the actions you can take, very simple, is go to Shiva for President. Go there right now. Let me bring it up. Go to shivaforpresident.com and volunteer. We must get on the ballot in every state. We have to even get on the ballot for write-in or for normal ballot. We're fighting many lawsuits. I'll give you an example. We got on the ballot in Idaho long before Kennedy. Kennedy still hasn't even submitted one signature, but he's going up on Wikipedia and posting he's on the ballot in Idaho. He's not. He's a fucking liar. We got on the ballot months before him. He couldn't even collect 1,000 signatures. So this is a level of brainwashing that's taking place. Our movement is in every state in the United States. We have hardworking people actually collecting signatures on the ground. And if you're listening to me and you're not helping us collect signatures and you support me, there's a disconnect between talking and walking. Go to Shiva for President right now and help us get on the ballot. Go there and sign up as a volunteer. Notice I haven't asked you to donate money. Booby, Trump, fucking Biden will be asking you for your money when they have billions in their bank accounts. They want to steal the wallet of working people. The way we work is labor is more important than capital. Labor, your work, your effort, collecting signatures. You're going and putting a bumper sticker on the back of your car reaches 100,000 people. You see, the way they run their campaigns is they're just collecting money, begging, collecting money from Zionist hoodlums. After Labor Day, then they'll go start doing TV advertising. That's what they call a campaign. That's not a fucking campaign. That's called a swarm manipulation, brainwashing. We are running a real campaign, and you can be part of it. Get a bumper sticker if you're lazy. This is a simple math. Put it on the back windshield of your car. You will reach 100,000 people per day. That's what we need you to do. What else can you do? Well, you can do a lot of other things. You can go to Shiva for President and volunteer. Volunteer to help us get on the ballot. And we're doing this with little resources, but people power. And we give you the opportunity to learn, to get over your own shyness, to interact. That's a gift to you. The other piece is get off your butt and become a warrior scholar. Those of you who made it to our town hall today, welcome. We'll be introducing you. If we haven't, we'll go around, but you have to learn history. You have to learn how they're manipulating you. And I have cracked the code on that science. So go to truthfreedomhealth.com, contribute there, get involved, but you will get immense knowledge. But we are every day working at this. We're playing the long game. If they want to do World War III, we can't control it. But what we can control is what we do to create an infrastructure, a movement, to grow movement for truth, freedom, health globally. So we awaken the 8 billion people because there's only 0.00001% of them. And the way that 0.001% of people are controlling the 8 billion, as you saw in the swarm video, is that because they understand the dynamics. And what we put together is for you to understand the dynamics. So if you want to break from all of this nonsense and truly get off the plantation, you come to the right place. I want to welcome all of you. But as I'm going to go to our, we're going to go to our town hall here. But the swarm's WW3 containment PsyOp that's what GAZA and the repression on U.S. colleges is about. Was to tweak you, to train you, to brainwash you for the next big event that they're going to do. And they're taking proactive action. We need to be proactive. We need to get educated. We need to organize. We need to understand their physics. And after hearing this, whether you're on social media or in the town hall, you don't want to do it. Well, you're basically committing suicide and you're betraying yourself. So get involved, get involved, get involved. You know, this week's town hall is really about education. You have to get educated or you will be enslaved. The good news is we offer all that education, knowledge, and activism, community, etc. So I want to welcome all of you. We're going to go to, let's go to our town hall. Emily, did you finish introducing everyone? Emily?
Yes, I think the only one that was left was Eric. Let me see if he's here. Eric,
Yeah.
if you would like to introduce yourself.
As Eric is introducing himself to everyone on social media, if you have any questions, please post them right here and I'll read it. And then we'll go to Q&A. Emily, go ahead. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hi, Dr. Shiva. Yeah, I was at a meeting before, but I never introduced myself. So thank you for letting me do it, Emily. All I want to say is I am in Massachusetts. I learned about Dr. Shiva when he was running for Senate here in Mass and supported him at that time. And began to realize, well, I long since realized what's been going on since 1963. But it's the philosophy of a grounds up movement. I try to share that with people in my community in a manner, as being the only system, the only way to manifest positive change, because the Zionist control over the media and the politicians is so enormous that it takes one-on-one and a patience in a way to manifest any kind of change of consciousness. And one of the things you said a while back in one of your talks was bringing up the Pareto principle and 80-20, where 20% of any kind of organization, it's usually 20% of the organization that does 80% of the work. And you broke it down in our case here, with manifesting change as being a 50-30-20, whereas the 20 are the people that are on this call that are cognizant of what's going on and agree with it and want to do something about it. And your initiative and taking people into an educational system, it makes it easy for them to do. And the 30% are the people that we run into that are gone beyond cognitive dissonance. They'll never understand. They'll never see a change in this. And that's like, what's the use? What can I do? That sort of thing. And what you pointed out tonight about being on college campuses and some kids that are just fearful of demonstrating now because of what they see happening, and they're losing, and so the Zionist movement has really impregnated every part of our society. The 50%, the people that know there's something wrong, but they're looking around trying to find something, and so we just haven't crossed their radar yet. That 50%, the 50% that I think we'll find if we get out there on the street and hand out flyers and take names. So what's interesting is the so-called anti-establishment people. This is very important to understand. Everyone saw Trump was convicted of all 34 charges, right? Everyone saw that? Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask everyone a question. You have to be a really, really naive person to not understand that the establishment will do by any means necessary, and listen very carefully, to make people stuck and Velcroed to their establishment or quote unquote not so obvious establishment heroes. Okay? Trump was a selection. He was imposed on the American people to execute the will of Big Pharma, to execute the will of this swarm. And now, you see, they're very clever. They're trying to make it's WWE. If everyone watches WWE wrestling, they always have this guy who gets pummeled and pummeled and pummeled. And then he goes on the ground and go, oh my God, poor guy, the victim. Okay, you know people who always have the song and dance act. Oh my God, this happened to me and that happened to me. Poor old me, da da da. And if you actually look at it, they're not that good people, okay? But they know how to play the violin. But the reality is, every time, quote unquote, the establishment, quote unquote, attacks Trump, what happens? He makes $4 billion on Truth Social. He makes $500 million off the election fraud stuff using my work. He makes money here, money there, money there. Have you noticed that? Okay. Is he ever thrown in jail? Has he ever paid for any of his crimes?
No.
Exactly. So stupid fucking Ryan Dawson, who has me on there, someone just said is defending Trump on Twitter, saying it's a corrupt judicial system. Are you fucking stupid? The Zionists run the judicial system. This is something one Zionist does for another Zionist to do theater. Ari Emanuel, Trump's agent and Joe Rogan's agent, is the agent in Hollywood. All of this is fucking theater. You have to be a fucking dumb fuck to feel any sympathy for Trump. And if that's the level of brainwashing we've got to, this is why our movement's more important than ever. That 20% you're referring to, that's us. And those are the agents of change. Trump, you're going to see tomorrow morning, right now. And by the way, right after the court case, if you notice, this guy's really not worried. If this happened to you or me, we'd be really worried. He's not worried. In fact, he released a video, a rap video. Like he's like the martyr. He's playing golf. He bangs where the fuck he wants. He's got prostitutes. Same with all these guys, Booby, Biden, all these guys. But the bottom line is that they have figured out a way to manipulate people to have sympathy for them. So Trump's going to make a shitload of money. They'll appeal it. It'll go on for years, and then something will happen, right? You know the game. But you or I do this, we'll be in jail. We don't get to make money on this. Okay? And then we have a stupid guy here, Gerald Arnovitz, who doesn't understand that Zionists and Nazis are the one, because he's brainwashed your typical Zionist, liberal, Jewish person who doesn't understand Zionists and Nazis collaborated. So, Gerald, I gave you many opportunities, so I'm going to not only delete you, but fucking throw you off my feed because you're too dumb to be part of my discourse. So this is what they're doing. They're basically have a set of liberal or Zionist hoodlums, Trump, Booby, Biden. They feed them money through theater. It's literally WWE wrestling. Both sides make money. So anyone supporting Trump and thinking nothing's going to happen to him, yeah, Jerry, this is my platform, and maybe you should read the First Amendment. I have the right to throw you out of my house. So that's not censorship. That's called my First Amendment right. So go read the First Amendment. All right, bye-bye. We have a right to decide who we want to associate with and how we want to build our movement. We don't want to be around dumb fucks. We're going to build our movement by intelligent people who have brains. That's what we're doing. And that's why people are so concerned, because our movement has figured it out. Our movement has actually understood this dynamic of the not so obvious and the obvious establishment. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry grifter now is like, oh my God, poor Trump. Yeah, I just wish he would not be Zionist. Oh my God, the New York courts screwed him. No, they didn't. They just handed him a golden goose.
It's so hard for people to understand when I try to explain it to them.
Well, no, it isn't. It's hard for... No. I don't think we should say that. Let's qualify that, okay? Over the last 4 or 5 years, step by step, our movement has won many people over, okay? And we've created the tools to win people over. And what's happening is the highly reflective, the people want to build a movement. The reason people don't want to learn is because they know what we're saying is true, okay? The reason they don't want to learn is for one singular reason. What do you think that reason is? They choose not to learn. You know why?
Well, self-preservation and fear of just knowing. They know the truth. They know something is wrong, but they don't want to take that step.
Yeah, well, if you know that the guy next door is a rapist and he rapes all the children in your neighborhood, let's say, right? You're going to now have to do something about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these people actually do know. And they know what we're saying is true. But they're like, ooh, I thought Booby was there. I could outsource to him. Oh, I thought Trump was this. This means now they have to get off their ass and build a movement. They have to go out in the rain and cold like Crystal Ellis and Dr. Rudy, who has a medical doctor, or Alejandro, or other people who have full-time jobs, and they have to go collect signatures to get someone like me who's real. They have to do work. You follow what I'm saying, Eric?
Yeah.
They can't be fucking lazy. Their own laziness and their sloth is why they choose to ignore you. But this is the time when you have to build a movement, not after fascism, not after the Zionists and Nazis are totally united. And that's what's going on right now. There's a bill that was passed in the House by a massive majority saying anti-Zionism is equal now to anti-Semitism. Come on. And
Yeah.
Therefore, using that definition, if any one of us listening is branded, even though we're saying against Israel, against Zionism, you can universities may not invite you to talk. Or let's say you're the father of some daughter or son. Well, maybe the local public school will be under pressure not to even have you there. You'll get a scarlet letter for doing this. So what this is about massive repression, where Zionism and Nazism are going to come together. And they love people who are actually truly anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, like this morons like Nick Fuentes, who they put on, who is truly a pro-Hitler, anti-Semitic guy. Because they need anti-Semitism. Zionism is anti-Semitism. So we're heading towards massive repression, massive fascism, and the only force against it is our movement, because we're educating people on this process. So thanks, Eric. So what's the solution? The solution is you. The solution is us. The solution is the right knowledge with the right set of actions at the right time. And that's what we're doing. Right now in the United States, you better be supporting our fucking campaign. You better be out there helping us get on the ballot. You've never had one of us fighting for you. Bottoms up, that's me and our movement. We're here. Get off your butt. Help us. Help yourself. Not help us, help yourself. That's what we teach. We teach people how to get off their butts. Understand the knowledge that I teach is the same knowledge I used to teach to the swarmiest swarm of swarm. It's weaponizing knowledge to liberate ourselves. So that's what we're doing. And the other thing is, our movement is taking everyday people, hardworking people like Delio, okay, who runs a business, Crystal, right? And you go down the list, Bosin, a young gentleman, Bob, Bonnie, all these amazing people who have overcome a lot of ego, who are willing to really understand. Glenn, all right, we have a lot of great people on the call. Jill, and people in our movement are learning how to lead. We are creating leaders of working people. We're not imposing leaders on people. It takes a lot of effort. People have to learn how to communicate, how to do reports, how to do project management, how to inspire and lead people, okay? It's a shitload of work. It's like an education that our people get an education at MIT, Harvard Business School, okay? Harvard Medical School, all combined, literally. You can't get this fucking education anywhere. So we're here, and no one should be whining anymore. And if you came to this movement and you knew all the help our movement did in 2020, 2021, and you're hiding away, shame on you, because you know a lot. You learned a lot. You have a fucking responsibility, a noble responsibility to serve people and get on the ground and teach people. And we need you now. The country needs you. The world needs you. Those people learn this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work to go collect signatures. It's a lot of hard work to go hand out flyers. It's a lot of hard work. But you know what? We have to fucking do it. So no one's got an excuse. We all have excuses, but no one's got an excuse not to do this. We all have shit that's going on in our lives. We have people who've died. We have crazy shit going on personally. But you know what? We got to get on the game field. You play ball, you play thing. You got to leave all that shit behind, and we have a job to do. Integrate this movement for truth, freedom, and health, our campaign, into your lives. Like you brush your teeth. Okay, I'm going to go 40 minutes today. I'm going to go collect some signatures. I'm going to go hand out some flyers. Because you know what? We finally have someone who's going to fight for us. So there you go. So get off your butts and do some work for yourself, not for the fucking massa, okay? Stop being a fucking house slave. Get off the plantation. I'm off the plantation. Get off the plantation. The people in our movement are off the plantation. We're fighting for us, not them. We teach people how to go collect signatures. We teach people how to be focused, how to be disciplined, how to shut the fuck up and not talk random shit. It's a lot of effort. People have all sorts of stuff they want to vomit. No, we got to focus. We have missions, we have goals, we have to work in a united way. That's what this movement's about. So everyone here, all, close to 100 of us here on social media, the 2,000 people, I'm sorry, on our town hall, the 2,000 plus people on social media, start working. Yeah, someone said my father passed away recently. Yep, he did. I don't have time to sort of, wallow in that, because my dad and my mom would want me fighting. That's why they came to the United States. We all have a lot of shit going on in our lives. But you know what? We have to build a movement. And we've created it. It's here. So get off your butts and start working. And we're not talking about killing yourself, burning yourself out. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour a day. Right now, we need everyone hands on the ground helping us get on the ballot. And globally, we have incredible leaders rising globally in different parts of the world. We're in 100 plus countries. And every one of you has a skill you can contribute. So get involved. All right, let's take any questions here. So anyone on social media, if you have a question, please post it. I'll read it. Any other questions? Emily, it is 21:30. It's 9:30. We've been on here an hour and a half.
Barbara has a question. Boyks?
Yeah, please ask the question very succinctly. Go ahead, Barbara.
Yes, I'll be quick. Keep bringing in people who want to say, "Oh, I don't get involved in politics." Can you just give me something, a statement to convey to them that politics? You may not be involved in politics, but politics is involved in every freaking aspect of your life. But I want to say it congenially. I don't articulate as well-mannered as you do. Can you help me there?
You're right. So Barbara Boyks, who's a, thank you. There's some feedback. Barbara, I'm going to have to mute you because I'm getting feedback. Okay. Okay. So Barbara asked a very interesting question. What do you say to people who say, well, I got to do my yoga. I got to take care of my children. I got to run my garden. I got to go, make sure, my family comes first and this comes first and whatever the fuck they have. I got to take care of my church thing. I got to do this. I got to do whatever it is. So I can't be involved in politics. I'm not political. Well, let me answer it by a quote from Bertolt Brecht, which I've shared before. He was a great an artist, who did theater. Okay. And this is what Bertolt Brecht said. He goes, the worst illiterate, which means people are truly uneducated, truly ignorant, truly dumb, is a political illiterate. So the worst illiterate, which means a simple way you can, the truly dumb person is the one who's politically dumb. He doesn't hear, doesn't speak, nor participate in the political events. He does not know the cost of life, the price of the bean, the price of fish, the price of flour, of rent, and of the shoes, and all the medicines and medicines all depends on political decisions. So the worst, dumbest person in the world is somebody who does not want to participate in politics, because what they're saying is, I don't give a fuck about anything. I don't really want to know how anything comes to me. Okay? So you have no choice. The first intelligence begins with politics. Why is it that with all my 4 degrees at MIT, with all the inventions I've done, with all the awards I won in science and engineering, that I'm so passionate about politics? Because when you delve into this, you realize that decisions, policies, affect everything. It is policies that affect everything. Policies affect your health. A policy that's added here called the pandemic lockdown destroyed people's health. A policy over here now has resulted in microplastics in men's testicles. 100% of men in the world, if you look at the recent clinical research, have microplastics in their testicles, and you wonder why testosterone is going down. That was done by politics. Why is there so much income inequality? Politics. Policies. Politics. From politics, from policy to biology. So you're looking at someone who's achieved the highest level of education. And I could be co-opted by all these people, but I choose not to. So if you want to be politically ignorant, you're a real dumb fuck. That's what I would say to them, Barbara. If you don't want to be political, A, you're highly selfish and you're a very dumb person. That's all you need to tell them. Okay? Next question.
Next, we have Robbie from Kerala, India.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ravi, what's your question?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Shiva, my question is, what do you think about Trump's visit to India? I mean, what's your opinion about it? I mean, what was his purpose? In visiting places like India and meeting with the leader of North Korea, for example. I mean, what was the politics behind all that?
Let me ask you before I answer that question. Why are you asking me that question? Why do you care about what the fuck Trump does?
No, because it's pretty weird. I mean,
No. Just stop. No, just stop. Let me ask you. What part of India are you in, Ravi?
The South.
Yeah, what part?
Like Kerala.
You're in Kerala. Okay. So the question is this. India's got 1.6 billion people, right?
Yes.
Okay. India was under British rule for how many years?
Almost 200.
No, it's more like since the Battle of Plassey was 17. Yeah. You should know the history there. Yeah. And then before that, under Dutch East India Company. Okay. With the incredible containment that India's been under, right?
Yes.
And all the repression that's taken place, right, throughout Indian history, for all the stuff that was stolen out of India, right?
Yes.
And you look at the history of India, there has been any real bottoms-up movement in India. The last time it occurred was in the 1900s, and Gandhi took over those movements, okay? And what India was delivered was a bunch of brown men with white hats who ran India for white men with crowns. You follow what I'm saying?
I mean, yes. I mean, the inception of the Congress was itself not the bottoms-up movement. It was a bunch of English-speaking,
That's what I'm saying.
Indians.
Right. Okay. Now,
Coming together.
right. So shouldn't we not talk about how we liberate India? Trump's visit to India was entertainment. Do you understand that? This is all entertainment. That's all it is. So we shouldn't even focus on this. So I don't really want to talk about this. It's just nonsense.
Yeah.
I think it's time Indians started asking really good questions. Indians need to ask really good questions. Questions like, why is it that throughout India, that when you look at the actual, infrastructure issues and the level of corruption that takes place in India, Ravi, the average Indian has to live in hell with just getting their kids into a school system, okay? How much they have to pay off people. How much students graduating India today get these degrees, but they can't even get jobs. You follow what I'm saying?
I mean, it's not just that. I mean, the school system is absolutely useless.
No. Wait. Look, stop. I want you to take a little bit of time to just reflect on the question about Trump visiting India. That's like asking, what is Kim Kardashian wearing today? Okay? Your questions reflect your consciousness. Don't take it personally. But who the fuck cares what Trump and Modi are doing? How is that going to affect your life? It's not. Think about it. Think about the questions you ask. All right. By the way, we're going to be having a big event in India online. Get involved. We have thousands of people who come to our movement. I know personally hundreds of millions of people who were affected by the video I did on vitamin D3 that went viral on WhatsApp. Our movement saved a lot of people's lives. The question should be, how do I participate in this movement? How do I help grow it in India? Sorry, I don't give a fuck what Trump and Modi are doing. It's irrelevant.
No, I already got in touch with Isham.
Okay, good. Yeah, but I'm saying get involved, go through the course, understand where we're at, and that we have a huge opportunity in India. 1.6 billion people, and we get trickles of Indians coming to us, and I'm of Indian origin. Okay?
No, that's because they don't know about
No, it's not true.
everything.
No. Bullshit.
I mean,
Half a billion. No, stop. You're talking with ignorance. I have to cut you off. 500 million people know about us. All right? You may know that because this means that you don't have to get out and get on the ground, Roby. So learn the knowledge, get on the ground, and let's start asking good questions. Thanks. You got to ask good questions. We're not here to just have some intellectual discussion. This is about building a movement. If you want to ask questions, let's talk about what we need to do to build a bottoms-up movement. Not have some, intellectual fucking conversation. I'm not interested in that. Go ahead, Suresh. Suresh, go ahead. Suresh Kumar Subramanian.
You'll have to unmute yourself when you get the pop-up.
Okay, while he's waiting, let's go to Snetha. Snetha, go ahead.
Oh, hello, Dr. Shiva. I was just wondering, are you considering a visit to the UK anytime soon?
Yeah, look, my schedule, as everyone knows, is very tight. But if you guys organize something and you want me to come, I'll come. But you have to organize it, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. We'll work.
Yeah, I mean, the UK is a powder keg in many ways because you have, this fool who the establishment put in, another neo-colonialist, right? Was put as a front man, Rishi Sunak, who's a complete dumb fuck, He's no different than the IAS officers who they put to run India, That's who he is. But I think there's huge opportunities to mobilize the United Kingdom. And people are waiting. Every part of the world is waiting for Truth, Freedom, Health. And this is why we're global. All that needs to happen is people need to make a decision. Do they want to be lazy and get off their ass and do stuff? Or do they want to live in this la-la world of entertainment? It's a very, very interesting question because if you go to that other world, it means, holy shit, I got to do some work. I got to do work. I got to hand out flyers. I got to study. I got to do this. Yeah, well, you have to. So that's why my time is limited in terms of where I want to put my attention. So let's get good questions about mobilizing people, not random questions. Obviously, we want to talk theory, but the theory should be governed by where we want to go, not to just have random theoretical discussions. Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you.
Let's go to Suresh Subramanian. Go ahead, Suresh.
Hi, Dr. Shiva. I just wanted to ask you.
Where are you out of, Suresh?
I'm from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia.
Okay, very nice to have you.
No, thanks. I've been following you for quite a while. So I just wanted to ask you, how, the swarm, the elite, are they all bad or are there any positive elements that you can see?
Well, are you trying to find positive elements so you can hang on to them? Is that what you're asking me?
Not really, but I'm just, from my point of view, to get to that level, it can't just be a cunning strategy. There has to be some good.
What do you mean some good?
To a high level.
Define what some good is.
Because, cunning strategies are not going to make you successful and wealthy, if you like. So.
Well, no, Suresh, hold on. I want you to define these words. When you say there's some good, what does that mean?
No, I'm just because I understand the way I understand it. My life view is that it's only by being a good person that you're going to progress and succeed. No.
You're not answering my question. You said some good. Can you define what good is? when you say there's some good in the swarm? What do you mean by that?
Not some. What I mean is like you identify all these characters in the swarm, right? And you're saying they're all manipulating for power, profit, and control. But are there any people in that level who are actually, working for truth, freedom, and health, apart from yourself? And
well, what do you think?
I think so. I mean.
Okay, so can you name one of them in the swarm who's working for Truth, Freedom, Health?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, I don't know, but wait a minute. Let's not make it abstract. Name someone in the swarm who's working to advance Truth, Freedom, Health to shatter the swarm. You can't, because this is a fundamental contradiction, okay? The reality is, this is not a theoretical question. This is a reality question. For people who want to make it a theoretical question about some abstract theory, oh, is there someone there who's good? Well, the motivation comes to this. Do you want to be on the plantation or get off the plantation? The issue always comes down to goal. Now, the swarm, among itself, that's why I call it the swarm. It's like a bunch of starlings moving. They move in all different directions. It's not about good or evil or good aspects or bad aspects. It is the collective intention of that whole that moves together. You say, that's what this is about. It's the telepathic movement of people. It's the collective aggregate of how that swarm itself lives, prospers, and defines itself. So if you get involved in this abstract, beard scratching, pipe smoking discussion, well, is there someone good in there? Who the fuck cares? That's like saying, well, Kennedy was shot by the some other wing of the swarm. We should feel sorry for Kennedy. Poor Kennedy. Let's do movies on Kennedy. Who the fuck cares? One wing of the organized crime family shot another wing of the organized crime family. Are they good people? I don't know what the fuck that means. To me, these quote unquote moral words that people are putting forward are defined by their actions. And do they want to fundamentally end exploitation of humans, one group of 0.001% of the 8 billion? If they are part of, let's say, Brahmanism, Nazism, Zionism, which are all parts of political ideologies, which believe that 0.0001% of people should rule over the world, then they come up with all sorts of philosophies. You see, philosophy is what drives these ideas. Well, there's good people, they pray to God, we're one day all going to die, we go to another world, and we're all fundamentally good people, and why can't we all get along? Why do you need to attack these people? But you know what? We may all be souls, we may all be shining bright lights, but how do you behave when you're on this earth? The swarm has no intention to see the liberation of the people of Gaza. What did they actually do when people are being butchered? Who's actually fighting for them? And you start building a collective view of how they operate. And it is for their self-interest. You have to choose sides. And asking that kinds of questions, oh, are they good? They did some good things. They gave some money to this poor homeless guy. Oh my God, such a nice person. They're all good. Nah. This is about the overall movement of history and how a finite set of people are using political ideologies to manipulate people so the human advancement broadly is contained. If you really step back and you think about it, we have 8 billion people on this planet. We haven't even scratched the surface of unleashing the vast majority of those people's intellect, innovation, ability to solve problems. All of that is restricted to a finite set of points on this very, large and dynamic planet. Oh, people, you go to MIT and then you get to be an inventor. You drop out of Harvard. Ooh, and then you get to be this. Ooh, Elon Musk. Ooh, IIT. Ooh, MIT. All these institutions. This is like 0.000000001% of humanity, which gets right to a little piece of knowledge. The large majority of people are still in relative bondage. So we haven't even unleashed human capacity. Yeah, so these people are fucking evil in that context. There's no good in them because they profit from the subjugation of vast amounts of humanity. So you have to look at the population dynamics of what's going on. The average American has $1,000, maybe $400 to $1,000 in their bank account on a rainy day. We have to look at the directionality of where all this is going. And it's going to more control, and it's going to more censorship, and it's going to more, surveillance. That's what we're doing. We're not unleashing human capacity. Next question.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Next is Roman Gregory.
Hello, Dr. Shiva. How are you? I'm
Good.
from Los Angeles, and my question would be, as president, what would you do to try to resolve the conflict between Russia, Ukraine, and NATO? And also, where can I find kind of more of a long-form list of your policy positions? Different policies.
You can go to my website. You can see all the videos that I've done, okay? Go to YouTube, go look at the playlists. Every one of my policies are laid out in those videos. Much deeper and, since you want to sort of nerd out on them, that's where they are. And you can go to the FAQ on the page. Well, I'm telling you how my platform is. I'm not going to give you a platform of I stand on this, I believe in abortion, that. You can go see all of it. But the bottom line is our platform is to advance truth, freedom, health in all those capacities. And each one of those has different interconnected arms. So you can go see my position on NATO and Ukraine. There's 5 videos on it, 10 videos. And you know what? People actually watch all of them. The nature of people, as you'll find out, Roman, is the establishment has manipulated people into this unidimensional approach. What is your soundbite? It's not true. So if you want, Emily will send you a link to VA Shiva TV with all of the videos. And if you go to the platform on Shiva for President on the FAQ, you'll see those pieces. But over the last 4 years, people know exactly where I stand on every one of these major issues in gross detail. So just do a little search on VA Shiva TV on any topic and you'll find it. Next question.
Next, we have Cameron.
Cameron, let's go.
Cameron, here currently in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Well, one second, Cameron. 1 second. I just want to switch between someone asked a question, what's your position on crypto? Okay. All right. So first of all, if you define crypto as blockchain, et cetera, let me just answer this. And Roman, this will help you broadly. And I've done many videos on this, on technology. People think a technological solution is going to solve policy issues. Let me repeat that. People think a technology is always going to solve a policy issue. And here's a fundamental reality. Every time a new technology comes, people get very excited thinking it's going to solve, like a savior, it's going to solve fundamental policy issues. I'll repeat that again. Anytime a new technology comes or a new politician comes, they're thinking that individual or that technology is going to solve a policy issue, a fundamental contradiction between human beings. The reality is you will find out that it depends on who owns the productive forces of that technology. And historically, what happens is technology comes out, and if it's a very powerful technology, it gets owned by the same 0.001%, and it's ultimately used to maximize power, profit, control. So when you go to crypto, a lot of the crypto people are like not understanding some very fundamental issues. The entire crypto and the entire blockchain, all of this stuff still needs an infrastructure to run on. And that infrastructure is highly centralized. It's not decentralized. The crypto mining is controlled by a finite set of people. You're not going to be able to exchange all of this without the infrastructure to exchange it, which is controlled by, let's say, 4 or 5 telecommunications companies. So my position is that all of these technologies needs to be owned by people. And that's going to come from policies, not from the technology. And this needs to be understood at a fundamental level. When the internet came, we all had hopes that it would be decentralized to people. No, it's become completely controlled by a few set of people who monitor, watch everything. So it's like saying, what do you think about the internet? Well, who owns the internet? Who's going to operate? Is it being done for the vast majority of people, or is it being owned and controlled by the few? Okay? So this is what we need to really understand. Technology has never been the solution. It has always been who controlled that technology and how much they eked out to the broad masses of people. Go ahead, Cameron.
Okay, Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Question.
Yep.
I used to work for a company called Goldmine Software. It was a CRM.
Yeah, I remember those guys. Yeah, I remember them. We used to compete
Okay,
against
yeah,
them.
so- what's that?
We used to compete against them with Echo Mail, but go ahead. But they were one of the first tools on desktops, on PCs.
Right.
Yeah.
So one of the things they told us was that we had to make contact with the customer 7 times before they took action. And I don't know if that theory still holds true or if it was even correct at the time, but in making phone calls in Arizona to people who have, I guess, gone to Truth Freedom Health sometime in the past, I'm leaving a lot of voicemails, and I created my own like follow-up text script with links to your website and things like that into the town hall meetings. But I feel like it feels inefficient to have to go back and me send out a text one at a time to remind them of town hall meetings. I mean, we have their phone numbers. I would just like to somehow make contact more with them. So that's, the thought came to me about my experience with Goldmine and the CRM.
So I think this is a logistics question. So we have a whole, so anyway, what I would suggest, Cameron, who's Marianne Barry, right? You're working there. So I told Marianne we should do a huddle tomorrow. Okay. So the bottom line is we have our own CRM system. We do email blasts. We can do targeted stuff. So we should do something. We have the infrastructure to do that for Arizona. That's why I told Marianne we should have a huddle. So let's talk tomorrow and do a Jitsi huddle tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yep. Yeah. And really good work in coming up with your own sort of, taking the bull by the horns and being proactive with that. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to do it, and I'm happy to share it too. And I kind of believe in open source, and I don't want to recreate the wheel if somebody else has done it. And,
so let's talk tomorrow, and we'll show you what we have, and then we'll figure out what's the right thing with what we have, and localize it for Arizona.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks, Cameron. Let's go to Vernon Jarvie. Vernon, go ahead.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Hey, thank you very much. I have a question for you.
Vernon, very quickly, what part of the world are you from?
North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Have you met with Sonia Frederick?
Sonia today.
Oh, good. Okay. By the way, to anyone out there in North Carolina, we need a few more electors to get on the ballot there, in particular districts. So Sonia needs help. But go ahead, Vernon.
Just a question about collecting signatures and getting a better rate of return on all of them. I think it's 60%. I'm the new guy here, but I'm just looking at whatever system is available to make sure that we get a better rate of return on the signatures approved.
Oh, what is like a rate of return when you submit?
Right.
Yeah. So and Vernon, let me just tell our social media audience. So basically, to everyone listening, in order to get on the ballot in different states, you have to collect a certain number of signatures. And Vernon, you're aware of that, right? You have to collect a certain number. So
Yes.
you have to collect, but that's not it. Collect is a wrong word. You have to get a certain number of signatures verified by the Secretary of State. So for example, Massachusetts, we have to get 10,000 signatures verified among the ones that we submit. So typically what we do is we assume around a 60% rate to be safe, Vernon, okay? So we'll collect like 20,000 signatures. You follow?
Yes.
Because the reality is that for every 100 signatures you submit, the people that you're submitting, some of them may have not signed it right. Some of them may have moved, right? Some of them signatures may not show up. So that's what we've seen in the world. So 60% is on the low end. We find some people getting 85, 90% conversion, you say? But to keep it 60% is what we typically do to be safe.
Okay.
So if you have to collect like 1,000 signatures, you really want to collect 1,000 divided by 0.6, which is 10,000 divided by 6. What is that? Someone can do the math on that, right? Which is whatever that number is, okay? But you need to collect enough so you assume that 40% are going to be tossed out.
Okay, I guess I was looking for a list of whatever the toss out factors would be if it was for penmanship or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've done this for 3 years. I've collected 5,000 to 6,000 signatures over the last 6 years. You just go do the collection. These people manipulate things. You just overwhelm them with enough signatures. That's what you do. There's really, I mean, you can't overthink it too much, you know? And Vernon, what part of North Carolina are you? Barbara wanted to know.
The western part,
Marion? Okay.
Yes.
So, Vernon, if you connected with Sonia, that's really good, but get involved because we just need a few more signatures in North Carolina. And it's a lot of fun going out and collecting. And, you know, the main message we're doing is, hey, don't we want more choices on the ballot, Vernon? It's not, when we collect signatures, we're not talking about my campaign. We're talking about the fact that we need more choices. Let's go to Garen to wrap up. Go ahead, Garen.
Hey, Dr. Shiva, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I just wanted to share my testimony with getting involved in True Freedom Health Movement. I can tell you that this now, you have no clue what you're capable of and how are you.
Wait a minute. 1 second. 1 second, Garen. Garen, can you get to a loc if you are, so we don't have the in and out, maybe pick up your phone and speak because we're getting a little bit of, you're going in and out. Go ahead.
Is this better?
Yeah, much better. Go ahead.
Video. Sorry. But I'm currently collecting signatures right now with you. I just want to share with people that you have no idea how capable you are to make things happen and how powerful you are. I learned that through, taking the course and getting involved with the movement and doing things that I'm typically not comfortable with. And the more you do, you realize you get more comfortable with things and you realize that you can make a difference. So I just want to share that testimony, and I'm hoping that people who are new will take the time to really get involved like you always telling us to do, because it adds to your own life.
Yeah, thanks, Garen. Yeah, look, what's happened over the years, to Garen's point, we've been told not to do any citizenship activities. I think Barbara asked earlier, we've been told not to be political, that you can just take care of your own little guard and everything just happens. And this recurrent process is supported by this whole entertainment media, by the whole Hollywood media. So even quote unquote intelligent people start living in this la-la world of not talking about themselves or their neighbors. So that's why I get, people shouldn't take it personally because I deal with this, but those of us who do the work and get on the ground, what do you think about Donald Trump? What do you think about blah, blah, blah? What do you think about blah, blah, blah? Well, my question is, what do I think about what Chris Bradley's doing in Indiana? Is he getting enough people out there? What do I think about Crystal Ellis? What help does she need to finish up signature collection in Nebraska? What do we need to do to make sure that we grow the movement in Latin America? We, We don't give a fuck about Donald Trump. We don't give a fuck about Booby Kennedy. We don't give a fuck about all these leaders because they don't give a fuck about you. We should start asking the questions about what am I going to do? What am I going to do given the movement for truth, freedom, health exists? You see, if our movement didn't exist, great. You have an excuse. You can talk about other people and how they're going to save you and there's someone coming. But the fact that our movement exists, the fact that our movement has proven over and over and over again that we will always tell the truth at the right time, that we will always support people's advancement. And we have our resume is quite deep and broad. It was our movement that did the Fire Fauci campaign. No one else. It was our movement that at the right time exposed to people the essential fraud of the pandemic. No one else did that. We did it. And I can keep going down the list. So my question is, what could we do if more people understood this dynamic, more people got involved, more people with the right intentions? It's over for them. So that's where my focus is. I can't be involved in wondering about fucking Donald Trump. Why did he meet with Modi? Sorry, Roby, don't take this personally. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if he gets indicted. I don't care what happened to John Kennedy. It's like Malcolm X said, the chickens came home to roost. I don't care if one member of the organized crime family shoots another member. That's none of my caring. It doesn't do anything for us. They want the 8 billion of us to worry about them. So you have to raise your consciousness and you'll see how dumb your fucking questions are. Okay? You have to realize we should be concerned. Wow, Bob Smith is out there collecting signatures. Can I go help him? That's what we should be concerned about. What are we going to do to help ourselves build a bottoms-up movement? Stop asking inane questions about them. You think they're asking questions about you? They're not asking, I wonder how Eric is feeling. I wonder why Eric went and met Garen. So let's just get very real and practical that we're here growing and building a movement. And that's what we're doing. And it's a lot of hard work. It's not sexy. Yeah, but we have to do the work. And as we do it, as we find more people, it'll grow explosively. And as we focus on the quality of people and the quality of the kind of actions we take and making it easy and accessible, that's what we're doing. And so everyone here has an opportunity right now to be part of that. And you have the opportunity to learn the material, become leaders, become educational leaders, and that's what we're looking for. It's truly bottoms up. And it's a long, deep, step-by-step process, but it is what needs to be done. We have young guys like Basin Naga, young gentleman. He's leading people 20, 30 years older than him. He runs meetings phenomenally. He's mobilizing people. Emily is a full-time nurse. She's managing 3 states, getting us on the ballot. One woman doing that. We should ask, how can I help Emily? What can I do? What can I learn from Emily? We have people in India mobilizing people. What can I do to grow the movement in India? So please get out of this celebrity fucking culture. It's like asking, what did P. Diddy do? P. Diddy's a fucking child trafficker. And your people are listening to these people's nonsense? Culturally, they're bankrupt. Come on, let's get our head out of our ass. Who are these people? Donald Trump. Do you even know him? I've met him multiple times. He's a fucking moron. Ivanka Trump. Come on, let's start having respect for yourselves. Reflect on what kinds of questions you're asking about who. And you have to ask, why am I asking this fucking stupid question? Why don't I ask a question? What am I going to do to advance me and the people who actually are part of the same interest for truth, freedom, health, not the people who want to subjugate you? All right? And you don't have an excuse because our movement exists. We've set a much higher standard. So rise up to that standard and get ready to grow. Don't wallow in the dirt with these people. You don't need to do that. Don't lower your standard. All right. So I'm going to, as I leave, I just want people to understand that there's some incredible people on this call, and people are busting their ass. And, you know, we have about now close to 2,500 people on social media. And this is in spite of all the shadow banning that goes on to us. So everyone who made it here this far, you have to advance yourself. You made it this far. Ask the right questions. If you're in the US, I repeat, go get one of these bumper stickers. Go to, you know, shivaforpresident.com. Put it on the back windshield of your car. And I can't tell you why this is important, because when you put it there, other people in your neighborhood see it. Random people see it. Hundreds of thousands of people every day. People say, wow, that guy's made a decision to support a person who's not part of the swarm. You've made a clear decision. Go do it. Do it boldly. Go to truthfreedomhealth.com. Become a warrior scholar. Do it for yourself. The knowledge that you get, you can't get anywhere else. As Garen said, it fundamentally transforms your understanding. It raises your consciousness. And that's what we're doing. We're raising people's consciousness. All right. So get involved, get involved, get involved. I hope this was valuable. Emily just said print flyers. Go to Shiva for President. Print the flyer that we have. Go offline. The future is offline. The future is with our communities. The future is with us. It's not with them. For God's sake, ask the right questions. Don't be a fucking star fucker, okay? These people don't give a fuck about you. I've been around many of them. And their values, their interests, their things in life are at such an abysmally low level. Start valuing yourself. If you work for a living, if you have work, value yourself. Respect those people who actually work for a living. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Best to you and your families. Be the light, but get involved. Get involved, get involved. We've created this amazing framework for all of you to learn and prosper and grow from one another. Emily, thank you very much. Be well.
Thank you, Dr. Shiva.
Yep.
And end with, you have nothing to lose but your chains, and go offline on our videos.
Okay, thanks. All right, everyone. To those of you out there, as I shared in this town hall, get involved. And those of you who joined us new, you may want to go look at this video, but it gives a deep analysis of the swarm's World War III containment PsyOp that really is what Gaza and the U.S. college's repression was about, as they get ready to do a, the possibilities of a World War III or whatever they want to do. But the whole goal is to desensitize people. The whole goal is to scare people so we don't build a bottoms-up movement. So as I close, let me play our anthem video so it'll inspire you to get involved in the movement for truth, freedom, health. But go do it. Do it. We exist. You have no excuses. Thank you. We have allowed our country to be taken over from within, and the end goal is you will have a homogenized world where we will become slaves, because there is a condition among the elites that really thinks they're better than you, deep down inside them, that you don't deserve the freedoms you have. They don't. This reality is what people need to wake up to, and we need to all unite working people. There's only one movement that can do that, and that is the movement that we started creating here in Massachusetts, the movement for truth, freedom, and health. Look, I've been a student of politics since I was a 4-year-old kid, studying revolutionary movements, left wing, right wing. There's a physics, there's a nuclear science to destroying the establishment. To build a bridge, you need to understand Newton's equation. You need to understand the laws of gravity. You need to understand Poisson's ratio. There is a way to build a revolution. And that's why I put this together. My goal is to train an army of truth, freedom, and health leaders. We don't need followers like social media. We need leaders, but they need training because the educational system does not teach them history, nothing. So in 3 hours, that's what I've started doing. That's the solution. We got to train people. First, with understanding what a system is, the dynamics of all systems that affect nature. The second is understanding the interconnection between truth, freedom, and health. Freedom is the ability to move freely, communicate freely, talk freely. Without freedom, you cannot convert ideas, hypothesis into truth, which is science. And without freedom, you can't really get to truth. And without truth, you make up fake problems and fake solutions, which means you destroy our health. And without health, which is the infrastructure of us and our body, you can't fight for freedom. Truth, freedom, health.
Third concept is it has to be bottoms up, working people, people who work uniting. And what the right wing has done is whenever you say working people unite, that must be communist. Meanwhile, they've let the Democrats run unions, which suppress workers, completely corrupt. But when you look at the arc of American history, it's been when working people came up. We need to go local. Every solution I'm coming up with as a part of this movement, we're giving the science, which is the truth, and then we tell people what they can do on the ground. Like with election fraud, you don't need to wait for some lawyer. Our goal is to train people to go local, to go local, to go local, fight locally. Forget lawyers, forget politicians, forget celebrities. You got to learn politics, and there is a science to it. They lock us down, we should be ready to shut them down. And the fourth part of this principle is the not so obvious establishment. So when you look at a system, there's always something that disturbs you from getting to your goal. Well, the biggest disturbance is the not so obvious establishment, which are those people who claim they're for you, on the left and the right. The Al Sharptons who tell black people I'm for you. The Tucker Carlsons. Do you think any true anti-establishment person will ever be on Fox or CNN? I don't think so. They both mislead working people back into the establishment. Without this solid understanding of political physics and theory, you're screwed. You're going to follow on the left wing Bernie Sanders. Oh, he said something. Or Robert Kennedy. Scumbags. Or you're going to follow some right-wing talk show host. They're not going to lead us to liberation. It's us. We're building a bottoms-up movement, and that political physics, it's a nuclear science of change. Bottoms up. We have to organize to understand that there is people who talk a good game, and then look at what they actually do, left and right. I'm sorry, Sean Hannity may say some good things, but I don't see the urgency in his voice to get something done, and it can only come when you weaponize yourself with the right knowledge. You need to be able to identify a rat. You know, Christ didn't go after the Romans, right? It was the Pharisees and the Sadducees who screwed him up. His own quote-unquote people. And that's where we're at. So these four concepts I've built into a curriculum where people can go to truthfreedomhelp.com, and it's an educational program. We need to train people in political theory. You need to have physics, and I've created that curriculum. People need to get educated. We need to get educated fast. And within a half an hour, I can teach people. 2 years of MIT control systems, I teach people those concepts. Then I apply it, anyone can understand it. And then you say, oh, I got to build a bottoms-up movement. They have to get politically astute, and then they have to go locally and act, not sit there on social media. They have to act locally, defy locally, do civil obedience locally, but with knowledge on how to build a movement. Now, the Senate campaign's expanded to the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and they can find it on truthfreedomhelp.com, so people can sign in, they can get access to a bunch of videos. If they want to take a course and become a Truth, Freedom, Health leader, I offer a full scholarship there, but we want people to make a commitment that they'll study, that they'll get certified, that they'll go do activities on the ground. So go to truthfreedomhelp.com.
All right, everyone, be well, be the light. Best to you, and we'll see you. We need to build a bottoms-up movement. Go to ShivaForPresident.com and volunteer.